Hey, yo, what's good? Check it out. This your boy Elder Sensei, one half of the legendary Artifacts. You are right now in tune to my man Tim Einenkel at the library on rapstation.com. Let's get it poppin', y'all. Artifacts. Peace. Elder Sensei. I'm out.
We just wanted to live. They told us to counting up something seems the only way you can live. Yeah. Swear to God, we just wanted to live. They told us to counting up something seems the only way you can live. And love with a mattress that was somewhat out of place. Where due to old habits it could double as a chase. Talking major key, let it cut you out of case. Or try and run the city till it run you out of state. Told us all of this is straight, and it's worth what you wait on. Staring at the exit like, yo, I ain't trying to stay long.
Brooklyn MC Skyzoo and Detroit producer Apollo Brown has finally connected to create an incredible album. The album is called The Easy Truth, features Joel Ortiz, Staley, Patty Crash, Westside Gun, and Conway. Apollo Brown and Skyzoo, welcome to the library with Tim Einenkel and Rap Station.
Yeah, what up?
Yeah, we here.
All right, so I want to start off with the opening track. It's Soapbox. The album, it's Les Brown, the motivational speaker, radio DJ, former politician. He's giving the easy is not an option speech. What significance does this speech have for kind of both of you in terms of the layout of the album? And then what significance does it have, or does Les Brown have for you individually?
If you listen to the speech, I mean, obviously he's a motivational speaker, and it gives you that motivation, man, to stop taking the easy way out. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody takes the easy way out nowadays, and you don't get anything from it. You don't get an experience from it. You don't learn from it. You're just taking the easy way, taking that easy route. You know what I'm saying? And if you work for what you have, man, and you kind of build on what you have and take, I guess you can call it the hard way or the hard route, right. You'll appreciate it a lot more. You'll appreciate what you have. You'll appreciate what you've accomplished. I think appreciation is a huge factor in whether you wrote the dopest rhyme of your life or made the best beat of your life. You made that, and you worked hard to make that, and so you appreciate it. And I think that's what it's about right there, man. It's just avoiding the easy route all the time. Sometimes you have to take the easy route, but trying to avoid that, man. If you can learn something and experience something through taking the hard route, man, do that.
Yeah, I mean, verbatim on that. And I passed the mic to Apollo first on that because he picked that soundbite, actually. You know, that was something that was done in post-production after I was already back home. Yeah, you know, when I came up with the title and I gave it to Apollo, and he was like, yeah, I like that. You know, it makes sense. Let's do it. I came up with The Easy Truth. It was based on everything that's going on nowadays out here in the world. You know, everything that's going on where you turn on the news, police brutality, 1, 2, 3, 101, 102, 103. You know, it's just, it's where we are nowadays. It's every day. It's almost like hearing the weather on the news. You know, when you deal with things like that, when you're dealing with gentrification, when you're dealing with everything that's going on outside, especially outside my block, in my neighborhood where I go at, you know, there's not a day that goes by that there's not police presence and activity in my neighborhood. And there's not a day that goes by that certain things aren't going on. So I feel like as much as we do hear about it, it's even more than that. It's even worse than that. That's the easy truth they're giving us. But there's nothing easy about the truth, you know? So it's kind of a play on words in that sense. But there's nothing easy about the truth. So here's the real of it. But let's call it the easy truth,
and
you know?
look at it and embrace whatever comes to you. Don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. Easy go.
You mentioned talking about your neighborhoods. You know, A Couple of Dollars featuring Joel Ortiz is kind of, you know, a track that you talk about your neighborhoods. Joel talks about his. Sky, you talk about yours. As a lyricist, and as you continue to grow and succeed, what importance is music to you to creating? What importance to create music that talks about your neighborhood and where you grew up?
For me, that's always been what it's about. You know, for whatever reason, that was what I latched onto first. You know, for whatever reason, when I started making music, the first rhyme I ever wrote, which I don't remember because I know you're probably gonna be like, oh, let me hear it. You know, but the first rhyme I ever wrote when I was 9 years old was looking out the window from 18 floors up. You know, 18th floor of the projects, looking out the window and talking about what was going on outside when I looked out the window. So my music has always been about my neighborhood. It's always been about sociology. It's always been about why things are the way they are in certain areas with certain people and certain upbringings and economic backgrounds, and what's the A and B side of that. That's always been the plight of my music. So it's not going to change. That's just what I'm attracted to as far as telling stories. Those are the stories I want to tell. Until they're changed, until they're fixed, until there's a different story to tell, I'm going to keep telling it.
Apollo, how, obviously Skyzoo uses lyrics to, talk about his neighborhood, to talk about telling a story. As someone who creates beats,
I create emotion.
You create emotion. How do you continue to honor the neighborhood you grew up with through your music?
Well, I mean, being a producer, I try to create moods and create, emotion through the music that I make. So, capturing where I live is actually pretty easy. I mean, Detroit is it's just a very blue-collar city with a lot of character, a lot of resiliency, and it's just, it has that somber mood, man. That everything that I love about music is in Detroit. So, and it's inspired by Detroit. So it's really easy to make that type of music, but obviously that's in the instrumental. When I make albums, when I make music, it's usually with another artist. So it's kind of combining the two, combining where that person's from and combining where I'm from into this amazing track or amazing album. Case in point, The Easy Truth. There's a lot of New York on this album. Sky's from New York. A lot of Brooklyn on this album. But there's a lot of Detroit on this album as well. So combining those two sounds, that's why I always say, people always say Detroit to New York or Brooklyn to Detroit or whatever. Combining the two sounds. And I don't think the two sounds are really that off. You know what I'm saying? I think they're pretty similar. I think we both go for feeling. We both go for, relatable music. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really that far off, man. It's easy to capture, the city and the music.
Is that something you guys learned? Is that something you knew prior to going into the project together, that Detroit and New York sounds are not that far off? Or is that something you guys had to learn while you're doing it?
The two cities have been working together forever. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing stuff together forever. Not just us, but all kinds of different people, man. And not just this genre either.
Right.
And jazz and rock and roll and any genre you think of, Detroit and New York has been, working together. And Detroit and New York, are two of the cities that are on the map, as far as hip hop, that people check for, that people still gravitate towards when it comes to hip hop. When they hear, about a new album come out, where's that coming from? What's coming out of New York right now? What's coming out of Detroit right now? We make exceptional music, so people check for us, and we've been making music together for ages, man.
Skyzoo, I'm gonna give a prime example why I'm not a rapper, but there's go ahead and rap. I've always appreciated your lyrical skills.
Appreciate it.
Because our last conversation, I probably told you, listeners always can't listen to your album more than once to figure out what you're talking about, which I think is great, because you get a different meaning every time. And there's lyrics on a couple of dollars that stood out to me. I don't really know what they mean, but I wanted to see if you could tell us what they mean.
Okay.
So it's, was as clear as the book that your hand on when you prayed that we stayed away from them anthems. Fuck is left for us except for us to go stand on. A box with a rope
and a bottle of spade. Carpe diem, make it pop for the day. I threw money to the jeweler, sneaker box full of change. Know me, I'm no better, I'm about it the same. Because on a box with a rope is how we got in this frame. Now flick it up.
Yeah, that.
What I'm saying on that is, what was the first one? Because that's like a good 8 right there. So let's start it. Which line did you start it with? What was the first line?
As clear as the book that your hand on.
Oh, was it clear? Oh, okay. So it said, the line before that kind of walks it into that. When I said, I'm about the truth, but she bad, but even more beautiful in the coupe. Seeing that was seeing all that I would need to pursue. The E-Class that was used to corner me off the stoop was as clean as the book that your hand on. So I'm saying the car that was put, the E-Class, obviously that's a Benz, the E-Class that was cornering me off the stoop, that was pulling me from the stoop, making me want to go outside, making me want to hang out and go be in the street and do things outside. The admiration and desire for those types of things. That car itself was as clean as the book that your hands is on when you pray that we stay away from them anthems. So it's kind of like a Lego, like everything's holding on to one another. So what I'm saying there, that clean book I'm talking about is the Bible. So I'm saying the car that I'm admiring, that I was admiring as a kid, is as clean as the Bible that the ones older than us got their hands on when they praying, that we don't follow what's going on out there, when we don't follow those anthems, those songs, those sayings, in more of a metaphorical sense, but those anthems and them songs that's saying, yo, go get it, go get to it, go do it by any means, just go get it, get this money, go win. You know, that car that I was admiring was just as clean as that book that your hand is on when you praying that we don't admire that car.
Nice.
So then when I keep going, I'm saying fuck is left for us except for us to go stand on a box with a rope and a bottle of Spade. So standing on a box with a rope is standing on the club table, being in the club, standing on the table, literally like a box, a square. Standing on the table with a rope, meaning a gold chain, meaning a necklace, and a bottle of Spade, you know, Ace of Spades champagne. So it's like, you know, fuck is left for us to do except do that, because that's all that we've been told. All we've been told, quote unquote, is to go do that. You know, go celebrate, go win, and go celebrate the wins, and then celebrate even before you win. Go for it, pop off, show off. Like, that's what we've been taught. So what else is left for us to do except go stand on a box with a rope and a bottle of Spade? Carpe diem, make it pop for the day. You know, carpe diem means seize the day, seize the moment. Carpe diem, make it pop for the day. I threw money to the jeweler, sneaker box full of change. I had a sneaker box full of money. I gave that money to the jeweler. You know me, I'm no better. I'm about it the same. Like, I'm talking about what's going on, but I'm no better. I'm the same way. I'm the same dude who's about money, who's about jewelry, who's about sneakers. I'm the same dude, but, you know me, I'm no better. I'm about it the same. Because on a box with a rope is how we got in this frame. And I'm talking about being sold as slaves.
Nice.
Standing on a box with a rope on our neck. On a box with a rope is how we got in this frame. Now flick it up. So when I say the frame, obviously this predicament, but also in the literal sense, the frame like a picture frame. Now flick it up one time for. Now I'm just flick it up, taking pictures. Flick it up one time. Yo, we doing it. Take pictures. Like, flick it up. You know what I mean? Flick it up one time for them, and then keeps going and going. So it's a lot holding hands with one another in that kind of 6 or 8 bars or whatever that is, but that's the breakdown. It just domino effects one after the other.
She bad, but even more beautiful in the coupe. And seeing that, was seeing all that I would need to pursue. The E-class that was used to corner me off the stoop was as clean as the book that you hand on when you prayed that we stayed away from them anthems. Enough left for us except for us to go stand on a box with a rope and a bottle of Spade. Carpe diem, make it pop for the day. I threw money to the jeweler, sneaker box full of change. Know me, I'm no better, I'm about it the same. Cause on a box with a rope is how we got in this frame. Now flick it up one time for 'em, one time for 'em. Know it's lit if they ain't here with the 9 on them. One time for 'em, one time for 'em. And the parade's lining up along the side for 'em. Need a couple dollars.
Yeah, and there's the lyrics stood out when I was listening because of the 2 rope references.
Yeah.
And just kind of knowing your work. Like, I know there's 2 different things, meaning 2 different things.
Right.
It brings it all in full circle as a listener.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
Nah, no doubt. And it's dope that you pointed that out, because those are some of those moments on the album where, like you broke down. You know, that's one of those moments. So I'm glad you pointed that one in particular out.
How do you work? You just start with a blank canvas and just start painting?
I usually put a lot down in it, and then I take a lot away. Then I put some more down, and then I take some more away. You know, so it's like a constant editing process usually.
Do you ever comply with the request to describe your
I want to continue with the album, Basquiat on the Draw, featuring Westside Gunn and Conway.
Yeah.
There's a sample of from a Basquiat interview, as well as samples from Jay-Z. I want to know, like, Apollo, from the part of the interview that we hear, what relationship, and this is going to go for you too as well, Skyzoo, but what's the relationship between art, like painting and drawing, Basquiat art, that kind of helps you or inspires you as a hip-hop artist, a hip-hop producer?
I mean, you know, somebody like Basquiat, man, he wasn't mainstream. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like Dilla. Dilla wasn't mainstream until he died. And I'm not saying mainstream as commercial, but more of a mainstay in hip-hop. Basquiat, he did him. That's the crazy thing. Like, he did him. He didn't care what other people thought of his work. You know what I'm saying? He rubbed elbows with the greats, but didn't really care about it. You know what I'm saying? He was with Andy Warhol all the time. He didn't really, he saw nothing of it. And he made art for himself, man. He made, I guess you would call, unorthodox paintings. You know what I'm saying? That didn't really wasn't something that you would see in a museum, wasn't something that you would see hanging on somebody's wall, some rich person's wall. It was pretty unorthodox. It was the type of artwork that, a lot of people called junk. A lot of people called it nonsense. They looked at it as something that needed to be thrown away. It was garbage. You know what I'm saying? And that guy doesn't know what he's doing. And he took a lot of criticism, but he still continued to make the art that he wanted to make.
Right.
And I think we prove that all day, every day in hip hop, man. We make the music we want to make, despite the critics, despite what's on TV or on the radio, or despite what the fans say or anybody else says about our music. As long as we stay true to us and make what we want to make, I think we'll be consistent. And as far as I'm concerned, consistency leads to longevity in this game. So, that's kind of the, what I got from Basquiat, man, and the work that he made. And I look at his paintings now. His paintings now are being sold for multi-millions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People are trying their hardest and shelling out all kinds of cash to get one of his paintings. So, it just takes time, and it kind of takes, for one person to realize that you got gold, and it just kind of snowballs from there.
Put a couple bodies on the mat. 05 and V's and trumpets on selling crack. Every week fly to see Lou for a new chain. Touch minus 4-5 to knock you out the flu game.
So as a lyricist, how does, what do you take from Basquiat and his life's work?
Not willing to compromise, submit, succumb to, For me, what he did, he might have known it wasn't going to be appreciated as such at the time, but he did what he felt and believed in. And now, obviously, you see it. I mean, they selling his joints for however, I think Jay bought one for $1 million or something, the things that he would have been blown away to have happened when he was here. And it's just sad that art sometimes doesn't get appreciated until later. The creative forces, sometimes they go overlooked and underrated until later on. So I see myself in a lot of that at times. The biggest thing that gets attached to my name, if you were to search my name on Twitter or Google, is the word underrated attached to it. That's the biggest thing that comes up with it. It's underrated. So for me, I find solace in that, knowing that it's still all worth it, and regardless of the accolades I've gotten and the way people feel about me, knowing that there's still so much more ground that's being covered, but people may not notice it, and it may happen after the fact. It may be something where it's like a Dilla or a Basquiat. I'm not trying to, compare myself or put myself in that light prematurely, but it may be something that happens on that accord. Where it's like, all I do is listen to Skyzoo. But did you know him when he was here? Yeah. It might be one of those things. But if so, then it is what it is. Like, so be it.
Give me my roses while
you can still smell them. You can smell them. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the worst, man. People, we revere people after they're dead.
Yeah, all day.
Oh, that was my favorite MC of all time. Really?
Yo.
Really?
Listen, don't let somebody die. They'll be #1 album on iTunes tomorrow,
I mean, you see, but you also, like you said, you see it with Dilla.
Yeah.
I mean, Dilla is like,
they just put him in a
documentaries.
museum.
Yeah.
They gave him an exhibit in the African American Museum of History, which is amazing. Amazing feat. But it's like, dag, I wish he was that popular when he was here.
That's why I tell this dude while he's here in front of me, how much I appreciate his work.
That's real.
And that he's the top 5 MC to me, period, in hip-hop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think us as artists, we're scared to let somebody else know how we feel about their work. You know what I'm saying? Or not really scared, but it's kind of like, it's almost like everybody uses the term dick riding. So we feel as though, if I tell this dude I love his beats, or if I tell this dude I love his rhymes, or he's my favorite of all time, or, I listen to your music all the time, man, it's great, it's amazing, it's relatable, it gets me through things, then we feel as though other people are going to look at us as dick riding this person.
Right. We're not as great and we're suckers.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not about that at all. It's like, get this man his flowers while you can still smell them.
And vice versa with Apollo.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, because when we die, or when a certain artist dies, then we start, he was my favorite. Oh, he was great. But it's like, you even knew this dude and you never told him that. Like, he didn't know that from you. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. I hate that.
Yeah, word up.
We're speaking with Apollo Brown and Skyzoo, new album, The Easy Truth. I want to continue with talking about tracks of the album.
Yeah, go for it.
On the Stretch and Bob show.
Yeah.
Was that a freestyle?
No. I wrote that.
Oh.
I wrote that.
I was trying to Google lyrics, and I couldn't find anything. So I was
man.
maybe it's a freestyle. Or maybe I was writing it wrong, so I just couldn't.
Yeah.
But also, what's the significance for you guys of having Stretch and Bobbito on the album?
Well, they're not really on it. We chopped that up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
That's awesome.
Nice
See?
work.
That's doing our job.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what happened was, there you go. See, it makes it all worth it.
I was waiting for that.
All worth it. So what happened was, I came up with the idea upon seeing the documentary.
Okay.
Documentary's fantastic. Everybody loves it. It's great. It's hip hop culture. And when I saw it, I said, man, I wish I was born 10 years earlier.
I was wondering that.
I was born in 82. I was like, I wish I was born in 72. I could have been watching it. I mean, I could have been up there on the show getting busy, And then I said to myself, well, we do have the internet. We do have YouTube. We can probably doctor something up and make it sound like it. So I came up with the idea. I presented it to Apollo. I said, we're going to record a joint, just a break beat, and you getting busy on a loop and all that behind it. I'm going to just dumb out for 80 bars, 100 bars, whatever it is, and then we're going to add all this stuff before it to make it sound like I was on the Stretch and Bob show. All right, cool. So, he saw the doc, he loved it, and then he went on YouTube and was chopping up footage, but he told me he was looking up footage for 2 days, for like 48 hours collectively.
Yeah, I went through
trying to find sound bites that made sense.
Audio, man.
Just cutting.
Because you got to find something that's empty. You can't. You got to find stuff that you can use with questions and certain elements of the interview that doesn't have another artist talking.
Right.
And that's hard, man. They filled up everything. You know what I'm saying? So going through that and then trying to find break beat. Oh damn. Going through it and trying to find the break beat and trying to find the actual interview that. Interviews and pieces and sound bites and, just different things that would make it sound like an actual interview from 1993, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then, lo-fiing the whole thing and, making it sound like it's on the radio. And I'm glad you thought it was
it sounded like a cassette, like what my friends and I used to do was record, cassette tapes and then play it the next day because, late at night, whatever.
I'm glad you thought it was an actual interview.
I was like, I don't remember this. All right, that's cool.
That's what I'm talking about. And then Sky dumbed out for like 465 bars. And then, it was just, and then it ended correctly, just ended like a regular show would end. And, actually, Stretch and Bob, they caught wind of it, man. And they gave us the blessing, man, afterwards.
Nice.
It was
that's
like,
great.
this is dope. So, it did what I wanted it to do. Absolutely.
Yeah, see, it was worth it. It was worth it. Word up.
Yo, you could. All right. WKCR, it is 1:02 in the morning, and this is the Stretch Armstrong Show. Vito's by my side. We're back. What's up? Yeah. Yo, you ready, Brian? What's up?
Yeah, 1 2 1 2. Check it out. It's a Stretch Armstrong Show. Let me turn on the mid-ikes. 1 2 1 2. Here we go. What's up, baby?
Peace. Stretch and Bob. What up, man?
Introduce yourself, yo.
Oh, man, for those who don't know, for those listening, it's your man Skyzoo, live up to 718. You know how we doing it, man. But I'm happy to be here on the Stretch and Bob. This is monumental, man.
Yo, but people, what I'm saying, like, people has definitely been waiting for the album. Why don't you let them know what's going on with that?
Yeah, myself and Apollo Brown, we got the album, The Easy Truth, coming out this fall. Make sure y'all check for it. Hitting your stores, hitting your tape decks, hitting your vinyl, hitting everything that you play music on.
One more question about the album.
Yeah.
Track on the album.
Yeah, see, school's out.
School's out. And then I also have a couple questions about just kind of about what you guys do. The last track, Nodding Off, focuses on how life might have dealt someone a shitty hand.
Right.
But you kind of like, doesn't mean that you've lost the game, right? You haven't lost the game of life. How does this track, if at all, kind of connects with the first track on the album?
For me, I think it brings it full circle, especially lyrically. It brings it full circle. You know, in the beginning, you're talking about the opening line is, my pop said time and his money, ain't it? You know, so it's you see what some of the agenda is. Maybe not all, but you see what some of the agenda is to be successful. And I've always talked about success throughout my career, you know, so you see what the agenda is and what it's always kind of been. And I talk about the pros and cons of it. I talk about how I was predicted to be one thing but had ideas of being another and all that. That's all on the first track. So on the last track, I started off, winning be the only thing they know you for. And then everything changes like you Okafor, you know, like Jalil Okafor. So it's like, you know, you're doing all this in a certain way and you're looked at in a certain esteem for so long. And then for things beyond your control, out of your control, you have nothing to do with it. You may get hit a little bit. You may get the hand that we talked about, you know, like the skit Apollo used from Mike Tyson. And it just goes into all that and it makes it, is it worth it? Is it still worth it to continue to ride? And you come up with that on your own. You come with that answer on your own as the listener. For me, I said how I feel, and then I'm really, when it leads into the hook, I'm really speaking to Apollo's fans in a sense that are diehard Apollo fans, and they may not be used to him making some of the types of beats or some of the features that are on this album or some of the content that's on this album. You know, I'm saying to them, hey, if you're gonna feel snobbish and feel in your way, at least Apollo is here to get the kill. Right. At least Apollo did all these beats. So you can still nod to it. If, you know, the fact that I'm talking about little kids looking up to coke dealers and I'm talking about, you know, wanting to pull up the Wrangler to put Ashley Graham in it, or I'm talking about the E-Class Benz and all these different things that we aspire for and that we desire. If that's not what you're used to from an Apollo Brown collabo album, at least the beats is here from Apollo Brown. So you can still nod to it. You don't have to be a sucker all the way. You can still nod to it. You know what I mean? But, you know, but I think they're going to love it, though. You know what I mean? I think they're going to love it. I know they're going to love it, rather. Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Yeah, I just know. Right. It's going to be fantastic, man. And the response has been amazing so far for the 3-4 records that we've already put out. But that's how it kind of all ties together at the end, you know?
Not that last line stood out to me as well.
At least Apollo didn't get the kill, yeah.
But I heard it as you, and I don't know if you were. The Mike Tyson might have been post production.
Yeah,
so was. You didn't hear that yet, but right. I saw it as you kind of tying it back to what Mike Tyson was saying, like, right. in a way, but like in a music way, being like same equivalent, like you might have a crappy hand, but at least blah
right.
blah blah blah.
And I guess Apollo picked that skit upon hearing the record 5-10 times. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, because I went in there, heard the beat, wrote it, recorded it. So when he's mixing and dealing with post production, he's like, okay, well, Sky's talking about this. What can I find that makes sense with this to intro it? So, you know.
Apollo, I went back to, you know, before this interview, I went back to listen to a bunch of your stuff. And as a listener, it sounds like you either like to use singing as a sample, or you like to have some sort of singer in your music. One, is this true? But two, even if it's not true, do you have a favorite kind of genre or era that you like to go back to when you create beats?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say a singer. I would say, you know, vocal sample. I like vocal samples. I came up on vocal samples. So, you know, coming up on like Wu-Tang and RZA used a lot of vocal samples coming up. And that was around the time where, you know, I got into wanting to make beats and you know, it was something that kind of inspired me. So even to this day, you know, if I can if I could use a vocal sample and it makes sense, it has to make sense though. If it makes sense, I'll use it. Other than that, you know, I'll keep it out of the production. But I enjoy it. It kind of puts a little edge on the beat to me. You know, when you got a nice vocal sample that rounds out a 4-bar loop or a 2-bar loop or something like that, it's just like, I don't know, something about it. But as far as genre and age and a time of music that I like to you know, go back and listen to and possibly samples. I mean, everybody knows me for sampling a lot of old soul, you know, and I pick that type of music because it has a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I like music with feeling. I like to make music that, you know, takes you places when you listen to it. You know what I'm saying? I like to manipulate music that can make you either remember something or forget something. You know what I'm saying? Like something that matters.
Yeah.
You know, music that matters. So I usually like to stay in that genre when it comes to getting that real sense of feeling that I like. If I'm making bangers and stuff, then I might go to like 60s psychedelic or it really depends, man. I like using like 80s alternative, but I'm really on foreign stuff nowadays, man. I don't really sample a lot of American music anymore. I think this is probably the last album that you'll really hear any American music on. But I've lately when I've been making beats and stuff, it's just been pretty much all foreign stuff.
Like foreign lyrics,
like prog rock, and it's just like foreign, Asian music.
Okay.
A lot of Eastern European music, Russian music. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of foreign records.
Sky, when you're working with someone like Apollo and you know his catalog, do you have to kind of write differently? Because you might, for example, you might get a singer, you might get, something.
No, for me, two reasons why I don't. One, because I know the type of stuff that he does. I know his approach. So me agreeing to do an album with him is because I'm already a fan. It's not like a label put us together and said, you guys have to do this, and here's the budget, and this is what it is, and we had never met. Right. I know his work. I know what he does, and I've been a fan. So that's one. And for two, I don't have to push to write around certain things because I just pick the beats that I like. You know what I mean? Yeah, so if it's a beat that I don't connect with as much as the next artist might, then I'll pass on that beat. If it's a beat that I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's dope. That's super dope. But for what I want to do on this, it may not fit. Then I'll leave that alone. That goes for any producer. That's not a specific Apollo thing. That goes for any producer. That's just how you pick beats, So for me, any beat that I pick and I write to, I'm totally into. So I already know how I can work it and how I can rock it. The thing about Apollo is when you picking beats, you pick them all. You know what I mean? Like, you pretty much pick them all. You can't say that for every producer. There's some producers that send you 30, 40, 50 beats, you pick 3. Right. He send you that many, you're going to pick that many. Yeah. So it gets tough, But, yeah, it was easy. It was very, very easy. I like singing the vocal samples in the joint, too. Like, I like if it's a melody or a vocal tone that just repeats. Like, I'm just making up some shit. But, I like when the same kind of vocal sound just keeps going. For whatever reason, that's always attracted me. So, yeah, totally.
We're speaking with Apollo Brown and Skyzoo new album, The Easy Truth. Skyzoo, is there a beat on this album, and it could change, I understand that, that kind of just blows you away, like the first time you heard it, and as you continue, every time you hear it from then on, it's just kind of like, holy crap, like, how did you make that?
There's a bunch of them. I love all of them, obviously, or I wouldn't have picked them, but there's a bunch of them. One in the same, yeah. One in the same for me, right away. And the crazy thing about that beat, when Apollo sent the batches, he would send like 5-10 batches at a time, and in total it was like 40 beats. The first batch was like 5 beats. That was the first beat in the batch. So when he sent the first batch of beats, that was the first beat I pressed play on. Wow. And when that shit came in, and then I was like, oh, please tell me he went where I want him to go with the drums. And then when the drums came in, I was like, yes, it's exactly where I wanted it to go. Because sometimes you'll hear a sample that be flavor, and then the drums don't go where you want. You're like, damn, you fucked up the drums, or vice versa. The sample ain't flavor, but the drums is rocking. So the sample was so hard, the loop was so hard, I was like, yo, if these drums would go where I want them to go with all this pocket, I'm in. And then it went right there. I was like, yep, perfect. So one in the same, payout for sure. Payout, definitely. I could listen to that all day.
Slow dough, never made it in my neighborhood. $1.54, $1.50 any way we could. Nike Roche into the payment for Megan Good and pulling Mach 5s just the way we should.
Sports to the Victor is one of my favorite records on the album. Just the way it knocks, the swing to it, what I did on it, the concept, but then how it still has it's not a downer. The beat isn't a downer. It's like up tempo. It feels good, but then the stuff I'm talking about is so raw. So it's a nice blending of the two. So yeah, I would say those three. I say One and the Same, Sports to the Victor, and Payout. But again, all of them. You know what I mean? All of them. Yeah.
And Apollo, when you two were in studio in Detroit together, and this lyric was spit by Skyzoo, do you remember what lyric that was, and kind of blew you away?
Yeah, One and the Same. I mean, I don't like to single out just one joint, and what's good is, you know, my albums, his albums, respectively, you know, people don't ever just pick out one song.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to ask our fans, yo, what is your favorite song on the album? Every fan's going to have a different favorite song. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what I love. But One and the Same, there's just something like super, super special about that track. And it just, I don't know, man, it has that feeling. It really sums up the album to me, you know, and that's the joint that sticks out of my head. Those are the lyrics that stick out of my head, you know. Just when he says, "My pops the time and his money ain't it," that's like true for everybody, man, or should be. You know what I'm saying? That's how I live, man. Time is money. Timing is important. Like, there's a whole different, you know, you could take a lot out of that. But that song, I'm a big fan of Care Packages. What that's about, and just the whole joint. Payout, Nodding Off. Nodding Off does it for me. I was telling somebody the other day, or at the listening, that Nodding Off is like one of the joints I when I look at the title or look at the album cover, that's what, you know, that's what I think of when I think of the album cover, or when I see the album cover. That's the song I think of. And another song that just kind of sums up the album, man. So, and then what's funny is those are the bookends. So, you know, those are the pieces of bread. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, and you notice this album is really, it's a lot of riding music, man. It's a lot of, there's really no rah-rah on this album. You know, it's a lot of life music. You know, a lot of stuff that is relatable to the listener, and I love it, man. I love that. So, yeah, those are the joints that stand out for me, man, lyrically.
So, Detroit producer Apollo Brown and Brooklyn MC Skyzoo, new album, The Easy Truth, Mellow Music Group, out September 30th. So the podcast will be up after it, but out. Definitely get it. Apollo and Skyzoo, thank you so much for joining me on the live.
Man, thank you for having us, no doubt.
Okay. Word up, absolutely, bro.
Winning be the only thing they know you for. And then everything changes like you Okafor. And you playing your role and keeping hold of what they hold you on. Remind them what they know until they know you gone. Like, do believe it, let your memory lock in. Like when locking the door, soon as top become the topic. And she take all that off, seeing how roomy the drop is. Yeah, I just want you all to feel the aura of the logic. We can keep this shit honest. We all about a profit. And I'm all kinda in love with this shit like it's a problem. Cause I seen how that problem stood up on top of problems. Down for the count, I counted down and said, yo, I'm in, till I'm in. A 911 Porsche without a 911 car. Around my way, they go together like you rocking up a yard. And if the topic that I'm on isn't quote unquote real, then at least Apollo here to get the kill. And you can still nod to it. Go ahead and nod to it. Nod to it. Go ahead and nod to it. You can still nod to it. Nod to it. Go ahead and nod to it. Nod to it. You can still nod to it. Nod to it. Go ahead and nod to it. Nod to it. You can still nod to it.